Connection established. Sending interactive video.
Hi, everybody. Boy, we're so live. I even forgot to put the microphone in place. And let's double check to make sure everything can be seen and heard because it has been a minute since I've been doing this. John Nelson, the plug-in CEO of JKO Works, and have a new position with a new opportunity, and it has nothing to do necessarily with JKO Works, but it will be one of those things that makes life very, 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 very fun. So, hoping to make that happen, and we're going to make sure everything is in place here because there's been some things changed around. Let's see, because we're having trouble with one of the destinations. That's always good times. Not sure which one that is. That's the okay. That's just the BoostWorks, or it's the Boost Success deal out there. So you guys will get this on tape delay. So, what the heck. Sorry, let me double check that. We are live and I am my own producer, as you know. So, been a lot of changes, been a lot of things happening, been a lot of things going on. So we're very, very pleased to make that happen for you. And so I didn't want to let the year get away without one final shot here. And honestly, this is going to be the last in this type of series as I'm getting everything in place, since StreamYard appears to have its own ideas of how things are done. So bear with me just a second here. Goodness. I think we're going to do this again in a minute. I don't know. Not really the intro I was looking for, but it's live, kids. So these things are going to happen. Okay, there we go. Now we're good. All right, I do believe now we're good. So I'm gonna get over here and I'm gonna add that. And I was just bragging on this system not that long ago. So let's try this again because we are live. I am John Nelson. I'm barely still the plug-in CEO of JKO Works and pluginbusiness.com. Stroke Survivors Network I'm involved with. That's a really cool project that's going to need some love here in the coming weeks and months. We're starting in the Houston area, but if you are the survivor of a stroke, or your family member who's a survivor of a stroke, and you're also looking to, or if you're a business or nonprofit organization that supplies things that those types of folks will need, anything from products and services to information to all sorts of things, that will be the place for you. And there will be, as I say, we'll be starting in Houston. If you want more information about what that's about, go to survivingstrokes.com. And then yet there's another project that I am involved with that I'm not the head of, thankfully, but a very, very good team is, and I'm blessed to be a part of that team, and we're going to be doing some amazing things for wellness businesses. So this is kind of the last in this series of what we're going to do. So I kind of wanted to go out with a bang. It's the Christmas season. Everybody's on low key at the moment. So let's kind of let's have some fun with this. Let's do this in a way that is, that is good. That's a great send off. So there are some things I've been thinking about and been experiencing and bring to the party of all these new ventures. And I wanted to share them with you as a holiday gift, as a gift. This is we're going to be rebranding and changing some things, so they'll look a little different, and we'll end up kind of moving to a different situation. So wanted to go out with kind of the culmination of what we put together. Appreciate everybody watching this over time. There've been several thousand views actually over on YouTube. That is unbelievable to me. I just can't even imagine that. So thank you everybody so much. We're also in the Facebook group we've had for a while, and that has grown. YouTube channel has grown, and the whole presence has grown. So some of you on Facebook may have noticed we're trying to kind of changing the messaging over toward wellness and the plan that we're on. So as a part of that, I've lost 65 pounds right now. So in about 4 months. So if you want to know what that's about, hit me up on there, and we'll certainly talk about what that can look like for you, especially if you're in the U.S. Because they're limited in their reach at the moment, but I'm happy to share that journey and what that looks like. So lots and lots and lots going on, which is why I haven't been around very much. So I wanted to do this. We wanted to leave you with this as these folks busy toasting and figuring everything out. So there's 3 strategies, 3 thoughts here as to what is going to make every business amazing and profitable and evolve and taken all the things we've been talking about and turn them into action and distill them. If I was going to distill them down to 3 points and give you a lot of homework to go look these points up, this is where we start. This is where we built JKO Works completely off of, especially in the last year. It has been revolutionary for us. And I've been able to take these strategies to different places. So they look something like this, okay? As we get everything started. So we're going to talk about success processes and what that looks like. We're going to talk about something called marginal utility theory. Okay, not the greatest name. Sorry, bud. It's really not, but the concept is revolutionary. Okay, so the person I'm talking to, I'll give full credit to in just a minute because it's really his. And then finally, we're going to talk about AI in the details, because that is the place where AI excels. And yes, AI is everywhere. It's being thrown at everything, but should it really? There are ways to get the best use out of AI and the best use out of the people around AI. So we all excel and we all do things better. So these are the 3 points that I kind of want to dwell on this time. So let's talk about success processes first of all. So the idea here is this: if you can build, and I know you're reading the screen, so just let me talk. If you can build everything in your business around processes, that there's a set way of doing things, is that mean it will never ever change in life? No, of course not. But it would be good, it would be best for your success, for your repeated success, for your growth. Everybody wants to grow, right? So your absolute best growth is done on the back of repeatable, simple, reasonably simple processes. Does that mean, overall it's not complex? No, of course, it can be very complex. But what you want is simple and repeatable. Simple, reasonably simple and repeatable. Simple so they can actually be done and followed, instead of, I understand heart surgery is a complicated process, right? So is brain surgery, but I guarantee you there are hundreds of different processes that make up that entire thing that is brain surgery or heart surgery. I can just about guarantee you. It's a lot of little steps to get to the end result. And that's what I mean by simple. Keep them simple and manageable so anybody who, with the minimum skill set required, can do them. It doesn't mean you don't have to be an expert at something. You do have to be, you have to have some sort of skill set to do some things in life. Okay. That's required. But if you make it the minimal skill set, then you're not, the idea is you're not beholden to one person. You're not, and there's a caveat to that we'll talk about in a minute. You're not, held hostage by a salesman that just absolutely is killing it and then decides to up and leave and takes all the business with them. That happens a lot more than you might imagine. or by somebody else who has a particular skill set you don't feel that you can go find again. If you've broken it down to its simplest processes, this will be something that not only can you bring somebody in to fill that gap, but you can also bring somebody, it's easy for them to get up to speed and to understand what's expected, so they don't start out failing before they, even get going, because they don't have the full scope of what's expected of them. That's not right either. So start with simple, make it repeatable, make it so you can do it over and over and over again, right? So touched on that an awful lot. So processes then become systems. If you put them together, a system is a whole bunch of little processes to make all that happen. I'm sure you have a sales system, and it's made up of several different processes that make that happen. I'm sure you have a fulfillment system where you get in business, where you get to, provide the product or service that somebody bought, and you continue to support it after the sale, and you train them if necessary on how to use something, and you provide updates and information and different things as new ways of doing it come around. That is the entire fulfillment system, operations system, but it's made up of a whole bunch of processes that make that happen. In your accounting function, your administrative function, you have accounts payable, accounts receivable, purchasing. That even comes before the accounts payable, accounts payable. There's a purchasing function there's a great skill in ordering. There is making sure that everything is where it needs to be so nobody runs out. There's an HR function that, among its other things, at its very core, just make sure everybody gets paid for what they were promised for the work that they do. Or what happens if they're not doing the work they should do, and how do you deal with that? So there's so many different functions that come together. Each one of them has their own systems and way of doing things and their own processes. And if you start thinking in terms of that in any size business, whether it's a 1 person or 1,000 people, obviously the higher up you go, the more crucial that is. But even 1 person needs a repeatable system for the way that they do things, repeatable set of systems, at the very least, for sales and for operations and for administration. So at the very least, that is what you need. And so all those are come together, and they're at the heart of 2 books I would love to recommend and have actually one I've recommended for a long time, E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerbner. I don't think he's associated with the organization anymore. I don't know what happened. I don't care. It's still a good book. Go find it. It's very easy to come by, and just read the whole thing cover to cover. It's an easy read, and it walks through lots of processes of things that you will be lots of palm to the forehead moments of, why didn't I think of that? It's so stinking easy. Okay. And if that's not enough, because the next book references the E-Myth, is the concept of the entrepreneurial operating system. Even if you're not an entrepreneur, even if you're in a big company, every company needs these sets of systems to work through everything and to make everything run smoothly and efficiently. So the entrepreneurial operating system takes that to a whole nother level. And there are several books on that subject, but by the author of the whole thing. But the main one is called Traction, by Gino Wickman, and there are several that came after it that re-say the same thing, some of the same things from a little different approaches. But Traction by Gino Wickman. You read those 2 books over the holidays. They're both relatively easy reads, and you'll come to your business in this next year with a whole new perspective that you didn't have before. And then, of course, if you want to implement either one of those in your business, especially the EOS seems to be very, very active in recruiting people. There is EOS Worldwide, and they'll be happy to get you set up. Or you can come to us at JKL Works, certainly, and we will implement some of those same things and point you in the direction if you want more of going to the entrepreneurial operating system. I can tell you I have done assessments. I have done success blueprints. for a business that is running an entrepreneurial operating system and running it well. And honestly, I had nothing to show him. I offered coaching if he wanted it, but I was also quick to point out that he didn't need it. They were doing so much right. They had implemented so much well. They had the right people where they were supposed to be. They had their processes in place, and everybody understood what was expected, and it was just rocking along. So kudos to them. It's an air conditioning company in Searcy, Arkansas. So kudos to them. Get them some business. If you're in the Searcy area, you won't be disappointed. So we have that. This is the concepts around developing processes for everything and making them repeatable. That way, if somebody, at the very least, it doesn't have to be a bad situation. If somebody's out, maybe they went on maternity leave, maybe they went on a long vacation, maybe they went on something, or, God forbid they had an emergency in the family or something happened that they cannot be there. Somebody can step in and take their place for as long as it takes to solve the problem so the company doesn't shut down or the organization doesn't shut down. You do this in nonprofit organizations too. And then when that person comes back, then their life will be easier and everybody else's life will be easier as they slip back in. That's the value of processes, and that's the value of systems. Okay, so let's talk about this other crazy thing over here called marginal utility theory. And I did not have his picture on here, but this is not my name. It's an interesting name given what it is. But a gentleman's name is Carl Bryan, Carl with a K. So a fantastic mind in the world of marketing and business coaching. Fantastic mind. Got a podcast. God bless him. It is sometimes a whole lot of stream of consciousness because he's got so many ideas up there and they're all trying to get out at the same time. And so the amount of business wisdom cram packed into one podcast episode is almost exhausting. There's so much of it. So there's a lot there. And I know that sounds like a backhanded compliment, and I assure you it's not. But that's also something to say that if you do go and listen to him, listen all the way through. It's worth it. Let's just wade through that and take away the nuggets that you need, and then go back and listen 2 or 3 times. You might hear something different. So take away the nuggets you need. So this is his, okay? This is not mine. But this is, I've heard it put many other ways, and it makes complete and utter sense. But he's calling it marginal utility theory. And the idea is this: little hinges swing big doors. Little changes to a business can have huge impacts, especially when you put them together. Okay. So if let's say, for example, you want to increase the number of, we're not even going to start with leads because that's just, but you want to get to, get to sales presentations. Okay. So let's say you're going to have 100 leads. Out of that, you want to raise your sales presentation number from 20 to 30. Okay. Percentage wise, let me give you a better example. If you want to increase something to say by 5%, that's like going from, or even 10%, that's like 20 to 22 or 20 to 21 or something. Okay. Even that makes a difference. When you start talking about small changes mathematically, they actually have big results. They have bigger results than you might think they do. So mathematically going, say, from 20 to 25 sales presentations. Okay. That's in the grand scheme of looking at numbers, that's not that big. Okay. But it can make a world of difference in the potential for somebody to say yes and to like what you have and to sign up with what you have. It increases the odds all the more. Well, if you just go from 5% to 10%, that number increases exponentially more than you might imagine. And I didn't believe it until I started running through our profit acceleration simulator. It does 497 million calculations that I will never do in my lifetime, or about 16 other people's lifetimes. But and they're all math whizzes. So it handles that, and it just the effects are unbelievable. but it all boils down to making small changes. There's a maxim that we use on the wellness side that says and I've heard it a lot of other places now. It's all of a sudden showing up. Strive to do 1% better every day. 1%. It's not a big, you don't have to make these huge wholesale changes in your life or in your business. Just strive to be 1% better every single day. If you map that out over a year, it'll be amazing to see what happens. It's kind of based on the concept. If you took a penny and doubled it every day for 30 days, you just double that total. 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, so forth. By the end of that month, you'd have $5 million. And it really won't take a hold with huge jumps until the very end. You start doubling, because if you're doubling $5 million, you're doubling from $2.5 million, right? And before that, $1.25 million. So I mean, it's that the impact that has is really in the last little bit where that all happens, but you'll be blown away at what happens. So if you're starting with something you can do, something we can all do. We all love these New Year's resolutions, right? So let's just make our starting today that we're going to do 1% better at things every day. Everything you do, try to do 1% better. Whether it's relationships, whether it's finances, whether that's business, whether that's, working out and exercise, whether it's eating better, try to do 1% every single day. Okay. And see what happens over the course of this next year. See how that changes for you. So we, particularly as Americans, are used to hitting the home run every time, getting scoring the maximum allowed. Making it, why do we go into business? We're going to make $1 million and we want it yesterday, right? But all the rest of us know that doesn't happen that way, does it? But if you're trying to do 1%, but if you're trying to double what you do every single day, it'll get harder at the end, but you'll be amazed at what happens. So try to do 1% better in everything every day and see what happens. And so that's based off of this whole concept. And the reason these 2 movie posters are here, I'll get to them in a second. It's the concept of playing small ball. So the more if you change several things in very small increments, mathematically, you'll be blown away at what happens. If you combine them together, you've heard of compounding interest. There is something called compounding impacts. They mathematically start increasing to more than the sum of their parts individually. So if you just increase 1 or 2 things individually, that, mathematically, that'll be what it's supposed to be. But something interesting happens when you get like 3 or more that you're changing at the same time. We do 12 at the same time. And with going from 5% to 10% change, I can double a business's profit, not their revenue, their profit after expenses in 1 year. If we did something like that, it will blow your mind. But it's all that working together mathematically to make this happen. And that's the power of compounding impacts. But it all starts with these movies and with the concept of playing, if you've done baseball, playing small ball. That's getting hit by a pitch. That's a walk. That's a single. That's a getting on base somehow, however you do it. That is not expecting to walk up every time and hit a home run or a grand slam. You notice the people that do that, there's very, very few who can live up to it, and certainly even fewer than that who can live up to it in a sustained time frame, that they can just keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. Many of the power hitters in baseball strike out just as much as they hit. There are exceptions, of course, but most of them over their career will strike out as many or more times than they hit, probably more. But look at the people who play small ball, who hit singles, who hit doubles, who just try to get on base, and then maybe they have the capability to steal, so they go to, because they're fast, and then they'll go to the next. They'll go to the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one. And so it just keeps building on itself. So that's where the idea of Moneyball comes in. I've not seen this movie, but I've heard great things about it, and I'm going to go watch it. And it is the idea of just this. The Oakland A's baseball team built an incredible legacy and had some incredible runs based on the concepts of playing small ball. They had people that could hit home runs. They had some people who were stars, but they also then tried to really work it such that they were just doing what it took to get on base, and that just kept adding up and adding up and adding up. And the teams who really have success do that. Hoosiers, reason it's there. I have seen Hoosiers several times, many times, and he starts them out, regardless of what you think of either Gene Hackman or Bobby Knight that it's loosely based off of, right? So it starts them out playing with the fundamentals. He starts them out passing the ball around, dribbling the ball, passing the ball around to the point of exhaustion for them, and they don't see what it's all for. Well, when they got to the big games, all they had to do was remember their fundamentals and just play the exact same game that they started out playing, and it wins them the championship. So I'm not, that's a movie a lot of people have seen. It's still worth going to see. Go see it, or go rent it. Or stream it wherever you can get it, and check it out. It's a movie that's very, very worth seeing. It's a little bit old, but it'll do. You'll get the point. So start out with something simple. Start out with the simple stuff. Make small changes to the things. Have a plan in mind, but make the small changes and endeavor every day to do 1% better. If you mess up, if you fall off the horse, so to speak, if you fail, get back up tomorrow and do it again and keep going. You will win far more than you lose doing that. You will have success far more than you have failure. You just need to change your perception of what success looks like. And then one day you'll look up and you'll be so far ahead and you will have no idea how you got there, because you didn't see it coming, because it's not this super huge impact walk-off thing. It is doing a bunch of little things right over and over again, and then realizing the success of it. All the entrepreneurs, for all the flashy people that are out there, it's like doing business in wanting to do business in North Dakota. We had some guys go up there to try to sell trailers at one point in our life, and the people were very nice and very sweet, and they said, "Okay, we might consider buying from you. Come back in January and we'll talk about it." North Dakota, January, not fun, but they knew that. So they wanted to see how dedicated you were, not just for the big sale whenever everything is happening. Come back when times are harder, when it's harder to make this happen, and then they'll buy from you. It's what you do when times are hard that make that difference. So watch both these movies, but then consider using the marginal utility theory. If you want to see what that looks like in action, let us do a success blueprint on you, or digital success blueprint, and we will show you what that looks like, and what it looks like for your business. You're going to have to provide us with a little bit of financial information, but if it's even remotely close to accurate, we'll show you some things that are very, very fun. And if we're blessed to get the opportunity to work with you, then from that point on, we will show you the baby steps it will take to achieve that. It's less than you might think, but it's done consistently and a lot. And so then you will be blown away at how you grow and how you thrive, right? Finally, let's talk about our friend artificial intelligence. Now, all due respect to my good friend and now new colleague in a new venture we'll talk about in a minute, named Chris McCormick, who is our AI nut in our group. He's more researched it far more than anybody I know. And knows all the tools, all the theories, all the capabilities, can work through it, is a prompt engineer, second to none. He's really, really embraced it, even though it's not his first, it's not his primary business. It is one of his primary loves. So it's something he really enjoys. But so all due respect to him, AI is not everything. It is so shiny. It's so fun. It's so cool. We just want to make it do everything. And I'm here to tell you, setting it up to do that is going to fail. It's going to fail your business. It's going to fail your expectations. It's going to fail. You're going to be seen right through eventually once the shininess wears off. And AI is only as good as it's prompted. It really is. I mean, it's capable of so many things, but it's only as good as the prompting, as the information it's fed, as our friends at Google will never admit to you, but that's pretty much what happened. If we're being real honest with ourselves, about a year ago. So they had to go back and repackage some things because it was seen right through, and it kind of got walked back before it walked forward again. Gemini. So that'll probably keep me out of the really good YouTube channels for that one. But you know what? It's true if we're honest with ourselves. So how do we leverage AI and all of its coolness in a way that benefits everybody? Well, there is one thing that AI is tremendously good at. It is not a replacement for everything. And yeah, I know it's changing and evolving and different than it was 6 months ago. And when 6 months from now, it'll be even more stellar and spectacular. But you know what? If that's all you see of it, you're using it wrong. Because one of the things AI is very good at that we humans are not is detail. You can utilize it to catch details we don't get. It will do them the same way every time if we want it to. It will not miss those opportunities and can think through some of those things if properly set up. Again, if properly set up, it can think through all of this stuff that we miss. Okay, so then how do we leverage that and turn that into something spectacular? Well, we're using it in sales flows. We're using it in follow-up sequences. We're using it to catch things and document questions that people ask so we ensure that everything is addressed properly. We're using it to handle follow-ups and appointments and keep track of equipment maintenance, to even keep track of all the little details of things that we somehow forget, even with the best systems. When you apply AI over the top of that, it's fabulous. It is doing the things so that way it helps us to live up to our potential, and we help it to live up to its potential. And the working together is where this can happen. So there's an idea, non-AI idea for a second, about promoting people out of their strengths. Okay. This is something you may or may not have been familiar with, but I've brought it up in many conversations, and it seems to be new to people. And it was frankly new to me whenever I heard it, because it's not something you think about, right? So we have a tendency in business and in organizations to reward success by promotion. Perfect example of a teacher. And I know there's fantastic people I'm going to name that do this, but honestly, you're lucky if that's the case. So you have a teacher who's an amazing teacher, really reaching students, doing amazing things with the students. They can't say enough about them. They are that magical teacher that everybody remembers in their life, right? Because they're so good at what they do. And so the district hoping to reward that with them and to show them, how much they're loved and respected and wanted and what an asset they are to the district. They do the thing to promote them to an administrator, right? Maybe they make it appealing and the teacher decides to try to be promoted to an administrator. Well, what have you done? You've taken somebody then under the well-meaning thing of a reward, right? It's well-meaning. Okay. You've taken them into something that requires almost a completely different skill set other than teaching. Okay, so then they have to figure out how to function in that. And it's probably, and though many adapt and many succeed, okay, it's not their strength. It's not what got them there. They're excellent teachers. They need to be teaching people, not pushing paper or handling disciplinary issues or, whatever that, maybe organizing curriculum. Yeah, that could work, but it still takes them out of being a good teacher. But we do this in not to pick on the teachers. We do this in business all the time, don't we? We do this, we do this a whole lot. We do this in areas where, you wouldn't always expect. So we're promoting people out of those strengths and making it something that is meant to be a reward, but does not turn out that way. So AI to bring AI back into this, can allow you to do for teachers what works well. It can allow you to, and I say teachers, I say people, you can do this you can keep people where they're working well, and you can bring in AI to work around them and to fill in the details that are not getting addressed so well, perhaps. To handle these, we're working with the concept of setting up AI employees to make this happen. So this is something you can do. This is a strategy you can have. This is something that's meaningful that can make a lot of sense. So consider using AI that way. So take stock of the people you have in your organization. See where their strengths really lie, because that's where they will do the best job. That's where they will. And how do you find that out? Well, through work experience and through interview and through really working with them. And if they know they have that opportunity to say, you know what, I'm good at marketing, I can do this, but really I'm a sales closer. I know if I got in front of these people, I could close them every single time. I know, in my heart of hearts, and I'm just doing this over here because this is what gets me into this company that I really want to be at. Consider giving them a shot at sales and filling in the other with AI or with multiple people doing the jobs. So that's how you utilize everybody in the proper place. Back to the entrepreneurial operating system for a moment. They have a concept called right person, right seat. Okay, make sure the best person for that job is sitting in that seat, able to and armed and to do the things that they need to, that they can do well, and contribute in the ways that they contribute well to a company. So we have that. And that's the whole thing about AI. So I hope all of these are some parting gifts, if you will, and maybe too much explanation, but you know what? You've been hanging around me for a while, and that's what I do. So, build processes for everything. Utilize small changes to get collectively big results. And finally, utilize AI properly and responsibly, and in a way that doesn't replace somebody who's doing a good job just because it's shiny, cool AI and you set it up to fail and you set your company up to fail. Utilize it where it can do the most good in the places that you're lacking, that your organization is lacking. In detail work to make sure nothing is missed. Make sure it reflects your organization well, business or whatever, and that it's filling in gaps that are not being done well by somebody else. They may be done by somebody else, but they may not be done well by somebody else. And really make it where that then, if it all seamlessly gets woven together to do something special. I hope if you utilize any of those, that they bring you success, that they help you reach the goals and visualize the things that you want to do in life. So if for some reason they don't, let's talk about what that looks like. If you're in the regular business space, there is always jkoworks.com. Come be a part of that. Let's do a success blueprint on you. Let's make that happen. And let's help your business take a strong look at where you're at and what that can do and how that can help. Because it's more than just about shiny marketing. It's about, or the new website or the SEO or the ads. It's about the business behind it and making sure that's in order, so that helps you do the upfront things so much better, the details, whether we use AI to make that happen or not. And now I want to introduce a new venture called Spa Team Boost. And if you are a wellness business, if you offer wellness products or services and you want to get them out there, if you're a wellness center with a location, med spa, whatever, and you're looking to incorporate just as much as AI is really hot, and business and climate in general, no matter what business you're in, is really hot, wellness is about to realize the things that have been holding it back for a while, particularly in the United States, in this next year, I feel. And so if you want to be a part of that, this is a team of people. This isn't just me coming around to really make that special. And we have some tools and strategies, particularly for e-commerce side, that have kind of been holding back that we'll explore if you have a wellness e-commerce opportunity to make that happen. So that we'll share with you at that point. But look us up, spateamboost.com. We're just getting started, so forgive that a little bit, and know things are going to change and evolve, but they're going to be made very special when all this happens. So I hope that's something that can, if either of these meet you where your business is, then let's talk about what that can look like for you. Otherwise, we're going to replay some of the 12 strategies. There are 12 strategies that most successful businesses, names McDonald's and Starbucks and all these different places, have utilized to get started. And they continue to utilize them in their business. They are 12 strategies. And so we're going to replay that in the Facebook group and on the YouTube channel over the next several weeks to reacquaint you with what that looks like. And from there, if there's anything that we can do to help you get started, to help you have the absolute best next year. I'm not naming the year so I can recycle this next year, right? But to help you have the absolute best year that you can have, because it's going to be I think it's going to be an unbelievable one, and one for the record books in all the best ways possible. And so that's what I wish for you. That's what I wish for your family. That's what I wish for your business, your nonprofit organization, those you serve, and all that for happening. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for spreading the word about what this is. Thank you for letting me be my own producer. God help y'all. and have a wonderful Christmas and a wonderful New Year. And we'll talk to you sometime in the near future. Take care, and thanks for watching.